Good afternoon, welcome. Thanks for joining me today. I'm really happy to see you. I hope you're having a good day, and if not, I hope tomorrow's a bad day. And I hope whatever you're going through improves, gets better. And if not, I hope that you develop the strength to deal with it more effectively. Maybe that's what I hope. That you develop greater strength to deal with whatever you're facing more effectively. I wanted to talk today about how do I begin to fix my life. And if you've searched this up, you almost certainly won't find my video. And if you have found my video, you must have searched a long time. There's a lot of content online about fixing your life. And I think what's odd about this is it seems like everyone wants to fix their life. It doesn't matter how together you feel or don't feel, or how other people see you, whether you're together or not. Everyone wants to fix their life. There's always something in our life that we could fix if we're humble enough to admit it. But what do you do when you want to aim up and you want to do something positive, but perhaps you're lonely, you're overweight, your lower back hurts, you don't have a job that's very good, you want a relationship but don't have one and don't know where to get one? Where do you start with all of that? I think a big part of me learning how to fix certain things in my life is recognizing that not everything should be fixed. Now, it could be you have a great relationship with your family, but it could be that you don't. And if someone in your family, your brother, mother, sister, father, uncle, whoever it might be, if that's someone who tears you down, and I don't just mean someone who tells you that when you've got bad ideas, that you've got bad ideas. That's not what I mean. But if you're trying to tell someone good news, and you can tell that they're not happy that you've got good news, or if you're telling them bad news, and they're not interested, or they're trying to tell you how they've got worse news, or something worse happened to them before, or they know of something worse that happened to someone else, then that's not someone who really cares about you. So sometimes things that need to be fixed don't need to be fixed. And I think if you're so desperate to fix everything, you're going to try and fix things that shouldn't be fixed, that you aren't capable of fixing. And if I know myself, I've tried to fix things that were beyond my capability, and I was arrogant to think I could. So I think that's the first thing to recognize when you're trying to fix things in your life, is learn the difference between things you can and things you can't fix, and accept the things you can't fix gracefully. Just because you can't fix a relationship with someone doesn't mean you have to be rude or horrible to them. But setting clear but kind boundaries can be the right thing to do. But let's talk about the things you can fix. And I am not claiming by any means that I have my life together, but I've got a few things together, perhaps. And I'm constantly learning, and I'm learning from people in my life, people online, and there's so much great stuff out there. There's also a lot of bad stuff, but lots of really great stuff out there. And a big part of wanting to fix everything is that you want to fix everything, and everything is overwhelming. Everything is too much. You cannot And you will not fix everything. At least not all at once. And I can't remember where I heard it. I think maybe it was Tony Robbins. He says this thing about how we overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in a decade. And the truth is that if you're in a place where you feel stuck, then you're not capable of dealing with the biggest challenges in your life. But perhaps you can deal with some of the smaller challenges. You know, I remember, for me, at the advice of Jordan Peterson, I sat down when I was like 19 and I wrote down all the things that I was doing that were stupid, that I shouldn't have been doing, and all the things that I wasn't doing that I should have been doing. And it was a horrible experience because I just came up with like 30, 40, 50 things, like it was so easy to come up with those things. But then I actually had to do the difficult thing, which was deal with them. Let's deal with the things I could deal with. And I think that's really good advice, that from Dr. Peterson, but I think that should be tempered with the previous advice of recognizing when things shouldn't be fixed. But perhaps that's too much to take in all at once. Maybe you have to try and fix everything to learn that some things can't be fixed. So, what do you do practically? Well, I guess the answer is, what is it exactly that you want to do? Do you want to make more money? Do you want to feel happier? Do you want to fix your lower back pain? Do you want to become more productive? All these things, whatever it might be, whether it's any number of those, or learn the guitar, or play football, whatever it might be, these things are too abstract. There's nothing about them that is actionable. So what is it exactly that you want? Perhaps you want to get healthier. Perhaps that's a goal. Okay, so there's two components there. There's what you eat and how you move. Okay? Now, you can follow any number of workouts online, but the truth is that there is only about 10 movements that you really need to do. Bicep curls, bench press, pull-ups, chin-ups, deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts. I would say push-ups like deficit push-ups, squats. It's probably about it. What's that? Was it 8, 9 maybe? It's not that many. So if you did 2 to 3 exercises a day. Overhead press, shoulder press. That's another one. So if you did 2 to 3 exercises a day and you did that 4 days a week, you get probably 100%, if not 99%, of everything you need to do in the gym. So there's that, and then there's eating healthily, and that doesn't mean that you have to starve yourself, but it could just mean start where you are. Maybe it means having sort of cereal, have a couple of sausages in the morning. You know, sausages aren't ridiculously expensive, and they're full of protein if you have enough of them. So you need, 30 grams of protein a meal, have 4 to 5 meals a day. It's not super complicated. So I think I use that as an example, but these are actionable things that you can do to make sure that you start to become healthier. And maybe the answer is lose 30 pounds, or maybe it's gain 30 pounds of muscle. Start wherever you are, but making the goals actionable. And this thing I'm saying has been said a million times before. This isn't like groundbreaking stuff. So I think, just to recap so far, step 1 is realize that you can't fix everything. Not everything should be fixed, not everything needs to be fixed. Step 2 is figure out what do you want to fix. And step 3 is make the things you want to fix, the things you can fix, actionable. Yeah, that's it. It's also important to recognize that things are a lot simpler than we want them to be. Like I saw this YouTube short, and it baffled me at just how simple this was. And it talked about the idea of depression and anxiety coming from 3 things. It's either your physical, your psychological, or your social. And maybe it's all 3, maybe it's 2, maybe it's 1. But if you figure out your physical, and you figure out your psychological, your emotional, and you figure out your social, so if you get healthy, get to a good healthy weight, get some muscle, you psychological, you deal with the things that's been bothering you, whether that's therapy or running or whatever it is that helps you. And maybe physical can help the psychological, and then the social, who you spend time with. Who do you want to spend time with? Who builds you up? Who makes you feel good? And who can you make feel good? It's not just how can you be a good friend too. And there's a lot of joy to be had in being a good friend. And yeah, I've got a good friend of mine, and he does this thing where he'll say, you know what I love about you, Ollie, and he'll give me a specific reason. And he's such a good friend, and like I've started doing that. I want to do that more. I really love you, and here's why. Because you do this thing, and that makes people feel noticed. So the truth is that you don't have to do any of these things. There's nothing about this video that is in any way specific, but it's a step. It's a guideline, step-by-step process where you can decide whatever it is that you want. You figure out what the steps are, and you move forward. And I think that the last thing that's probably the most important thing is just to start. It's just to give it a go. To do it badly, to fail. And not in some kind of grand way, but just to get it wrong. That's okay. It's okay to get it wrong. Everyone gets it wrong. But watching videos about productivity isn't the same as being productive. Although it feels like it. Yeah. There's many things that can help you, whether go for a walk, write stuff down, read your Bible, draw close to God, exercise. If you just did if you just did some pull-ups, if that's all you did, that's maybe like 40% of all you need to do. You just started where you are. Maybe clean your room. That's the first step. Fill the dishwasher. Put that washing on. Hang that washing up. Fold those damn clothes. Brush your teeth. Clean your desk. Sort that stack of papers out. Buy that card for your parents, your friends, whoever it might be. Send that text. Theo Vaughn said this thing, and he's such an interesting person. He's so funny. And his advice was to ask her out. And whatever her might be, whether that's actually a girl, or if it's a job, or if it's moving to a new city. And I think it's a lot simpler. It can start a lot simpler than that. It can be ask her out just by starting. And that's what I loved about him saying that, was it was just start. Do it badly and it's okay. People are a lot more accommodating than we think they are. People are a lot more forgiving than we think they are. And I know that, I've been working out for a while now, a good number of years, and I'm quite an outgoing person. And not everyone's like me. It's just my personality. I know in that way I've got it a lot easier than lots of other people. I know people suffer from anxiety, but the amount of times I've gone up to someone and said, "Hey, you look like you know what you're doing. Can you help with this exercise?" I don't seem to be getting it. I've never had anyone be horrible to me about that. The people that have been horrible to me about it are the people who are a lot weaker than me. I don't mean that arrogantly. I just mean it's just true. Yeah. People who are trying their best, just like you. Just look around online, and don't get bogged down in all the videos. And if that helps you a little bit, then go ahead. But don't spend too long doing that. But recognize that there's lots of people struggling with exactly the same thing. And we're all struggling to know how to fix our lives, and we're all trying to improve. And the amount of videos that are out there about this prove that people keep watching this content. People keep wanting to know, what is it that I need to do to improve my life? What can I actually do? And it's just the same stuff repeated. What do you want? Figure out a plan and how to do it. Act the plan out. Recognize that there's things that you can't fix. It's all the same stuff. But realize that you aren't alone. And the amount of times I hear from content creators that nobody's going to come and save you. And that's true. Nobody's going to come and save you. That is true. But what they don't tell you is that you can find people who are willing to struggle with you. You don't need to struggle alone. Now nobody's going to save you, but you don't have to struggle alone. And it might feel like you do. But find your community, whether it's at the gym, meeting up with other people of your religious faith. Go volunteer, go help people, whatever. You don't have to suffer alone. And there's a lot more people just like you suffering in the same way or in similar ways, who your insights and your feelings and you listening would mean the world to them. So please just start where you are. You're not alone. And have the courage to try and to keep trying. And if you keep trying, it'll work. Whatever it is that you want to do, it will work. I love you very much, and I'm proud of you, and I hope that you have the day that you want, and I hope that you build the life that you want, because I'm doing the same, and I'm trying my best, and maybe if we keep trying, it'll work. If we keep trying, it might just work. Anyway, that's enough from me. Have a lovely week. Take it easy, and keep trying.